clicking on YouTube.
Going live. This may take a few seconds.
Wow, actually, man, you will do the intros with this voice. You should be like, and we are live. Behind the product. do it.
So many streams playing. I can't hear shit. I have all the streams playing in the background. Sorry.
You have to do, Alex, with this voice you did, like, do the amazing intro, like, you are live with Behind the Product or something like that.
I cannot just do it on command, man. It has to be like spontaneous.
You have to.
We are live. Going live on LinkedIn, YouTube, and that's it.
That wasn't so good, man.
I needed that for a platform.
That was like AliExpress version of the first gig you did.
Yeah. There was actually a guy who always wanted me to say the EA Sports catchphrase. Also, I was always so shy to do it. No, I'm not doing it, man. We are starting the stream.
Can you do it?
Please.
Oh. Please.
I will leave the stream if you don't do it.
Oh shit. No, I'm not doing it. Let's go. Content, let's go.
Okay. Welcome everyone to this Friday stream Behind the Product. And today we are going through product updates where we are going to share what we have been working on this week. The landing page, what happened on the product, and that we tried already to release the product and it didn't happen. And that today we encountered another pitfall, which is interesting, and the guys will be sharing it. Then we are going to growth, what happened this week on the product in terms of growth. We'll be also talking about why dog feeding your own product to yourself, and that's the term, and it's a bit hard for me sometimes to use this term because I'm not exactly sure how it's used in English, but dog feeding your product is a really smart way to build your product. And we'll be talking a bit about that. And then we have a new format prepared for you, and that's Builders News. I picked the top 4 products on Product Hunt this week, and we'll be going through them with the guys and just chatting about the products and why we like them, why we don't like them, what it sparks in us, and just chatting about interesting stuff. And the same with some news from indie hackers, some cool stuff from Twitter. Like, in general, what we are doing in the Builder News, we are sharing what we found interesting this week, what inspired us, and sharing that with you. So I think we can get to it, right? You ready, guys?
Yep.
Yes, we're ready. Woohoo!
Yay!
That sound was necessary, man.
I think Marek is our main sound effect guy.
Sound designer.
Sound engineer, man. Sound engineer. This is how we test Wonder with these sounds.
Okay, so let's start with landing page. The last week I showed you the work in progress landing page, and right now it's finished, and it went through quite a lot of iterations, and I'm happy to share it right now, actually, finally. Last week I was like, I'm not sure. So right now I am sure.
Show it.
I'm working on it. Okay.
Oh.
I switched the layout really quick.
You are doing a good job, man. So we changed the headline, and that was actually a big challenge for us with Alex. As first, it's always hard to actually create the hero headline because it should give the reader the benefit of what the tool will bring to him instantly, and it's always hard because your mind is used. When you are building the product, your mind is already so deep in the product and so deep in what the product actually does for you and for the users that it's hard. It's easy for you to put something in there and feel like it's enough because you get all the context, and it's hard to get out of this mindset and actually write a headline that will make sense even for people and show the benefit to people that don't have this context. And what we find out is that the headline we used in like third paragraph or something like this, which was this headline, the one live stream is then, how do you call it in the middle in English, this one?
Equals.
Yeah, one live stream equals 10 plus extra pieces of video content. It's actually the strongest proposition of the value Welder Studio right now does for people. And that's why we started doing it, because we didn't want that our live streams to die, because almost nobody is watching this. But we still enjoy doing it, and we believe that if we repurpose the content, the stream into multiple pieces, we will get a lot more out of it. So this is the headline. There will be video, quick walkthrough without sound of how the whole process actually works and what you get out of it. And then there is each step, because really Valor Studio is 3 big steps put together, and it's live. Someone is doing a lot of noise, guys. If you are not speaking, just mute yourself because you are drinking and everything. So vaping. So first step is actually producing the video, going live. And this is where we are talking about it. Second step is editing it and repurposing it. Mostly editing it and selecting the right pieces, trimming the start, trimming something in the middle that you don't want to be in the final interview, whatever. And then the result is repurposed content. So you get the long form stream, or ideally, if you are really streaming, you get a stream, then you get the long form format, which is the whole stream. Then you can get the clips, which are shorter format, like 10 minutes of specific topics. And then you get the micro content, which are the highlights. And it's super simple. We actually, I decided to make the landing page shorter. There was a lot more, but it was quite confusing. It was not easy to understand. And this actually shows the value so well that I believe it's enough. We also have this, which I like. It was idea of Alex, and it should spark emotions, and it should be like, okay, yeah, people are really saying these to us. We hear this from people, and there should be no more of it. So that's the landing page. And also long FAQ. Alex, that's your job. Why do you like the long FAQ?
I think I like it in a combination with the shorter landing page overall. Like it answers all the questions you might have at the end of like reading all of this. And yeah, also like when I was writing it, I had like so many questions in mind, so I just kept going until the point where I just couldn't think of anything else. And I was just hoping you would be fine with it, I guess. And yeah, so this is how it looks right now.
I actually didn't like it at first, but I like it right now because it's like if as you said, link page is really short, but it gives you the most important information and it gives you the benefits, like the why, how, and what you get out of Welder. And if you get any more questions, if there is something specific on your mind, maybe because you know some other solution that works for you already, and you are thinking if this is the better solution for you, stuff like that, this is where you get your answer. It also helps with SEO, which is good to get more text on your website with the keywords. So this is accomplishing it.
Yep.
Cool. So that's the landing page. Another point, product. We planned to release the product this Wednesday, silently, and launch it on Prerog Hunt next Tuesday, loudly. And that didn't happen. At least the Wednesday didn't happen. The Tuesday is still not here. So, Predi, Marek, do you want to take us through what happened, why we didn't release it on Wednesday, and also what happened today, actually, what you find out today that might be an issue? And why we might not release it even on Tuesday. Hopefully we do, but what's the issue? I think it's interesting.
Yeah, actually, I think we can get it going on today, maybe after the stream, but not in the way we really wanted, because like basically how we wanted the editor to work is that like you cut out some pieces and you export the whole video and it happens instantly, you know? Like you don't have to wait for encoding of the whole video, which can take for like 1 hour video, it can take like 20 minutes or so, maybe half hour. But we actually find out that it's not that simple. You actually can't cut pieces of like basically MP4, you know, H264 or 265 video, just like this without the encoding. It's just not possible. There are like keyframes, you know, some other stuff. It just doesn't work.
Yeah,
we didn't know that initially because like we don't have such. Actually, we could have think of that, but like as you are deep in code and going and trying to get it out, like you don't think about stuff like this. So it's just a little bit more complicated than we thought.
You want to say something, Predi?
Yeah, sure. So the idea is, I think that basically if you don't want to do any re-encoding, you can only cut in like 2-second sections or something like that. It depends on how many keyframes you have in a video. But the issue is that for our content or our recordings, we use like a 2-second keyframes because they are important for streaming services. They want them to have a 2-second keyframes, and it's impossible to do any more granular cut than that, with what we have right now. So the only option is basically to re-encode it and have like a slower version for now.
It's fun because it's always issues like these. It's quite a big issue, but it's something that you would not really expect to happen when you are working on product in this scale, like solving so many things, because we really had to take care of everything from like the streaming, connecting to the platforms, to making the background change and overlays, to the editor that actually transcribes the video. It's chopped to the words, so you can scroll through the words, you can cut parts, you can export parts, like so many stuff. And I still believe it's like we are doing a good job, because the plan was releasing it at the end of November, and it's end of the November right now, and we are just a few days past on a month-long deadline. That's a good job. I really believe it's a good job, but we are still trying to push ourselves harder and harder.
Yeah, we were just talking about it, Mark, that it's kind of funny. It's been like a lot of these issues are mainly because this is the first time we are doing any kind of media processing as a project, So we were joking, like if we were doing it like a second time, we could have saved like a week of work right now, where we were basically working with a feature that was never going to work how we wanted it to work. So you kind of just get faster with time, and as you get more experience. Like our main experience with Mark was with building more standard products, what I would say, and basically zero media. And once you get to media, you have to rediscover all of this stuff, and then you can get better, and then you can be an expert, actually. But it does take time, and it takes a lot of mistakes to get there.
And mistakes is in the specific field, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. That's the challenge, and through our career, we are not building products in specific field. We are building like in one specific field. We are really always jumping, and even between the fields. So then you get to another field, and you don't have much experience with the technology there. You still have the great ideas, but then you come to these caveats that you didn't expect.
Yeah, would you say, like, because we went from local recording to live, it's still like working with video, but there are like completely different issues, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like it's still video, so we could reuse some experience, but for example, we were never doing cutting in local video, and you really cannot discover this problem if you never done cutting before. So it's kind of funny, you just have to try it, you have to fail. There is some stuff that we can do better, which we talked about Mark before. We can do a lot more testing beforehand, but honestly, like this deadline was so tight that even if we did that, probably wouldn't help that much.
That's the challenge.
So,
That's the challenge. That's the challenge.
It basically just happens, I'm not too. Yeah. I like me and Mark. We are not too worried about that, but because like we said, we are basically 3 days behind, and 1 month deadline was extremely tight anyway. So it's still a good result. But yeah, it's kind of funny. Like we could have been even like I would say a week faster if we had done it the second time, basically. So.
Yeah, and it's fun, and this is the challenge, because we are building a new product, and you don't have experience with the tech and the space and the product and stuff like that. You can do two decisions, like just jump into it and start building, but you always want to set deadlines, because those deadlines push you, but it's hard to accomplish them. Or you can spend like a week or two just figuring out upfront, like what's the tech and what you could do and what should you use. And it's so hard to find the right mix between it, because you can also because if you are just doing the research on the beginning, you also don't know so many things because you didn't get into it. So
yeah, this is exactly what Mark said to me. Maybe you can tell me about. But for example, he exactly said this. Basically, we tested the cutting beforehand, and we know it works, but we just forgot to test if it's actually like 2 seconds, cut the wrong time, because like
it actually wasn't even on my mind. Like,
yeah, exactly.
I put some video, and I was like, "Yeah, it's cut. Yeah, maybe it works." But then when you see it in the editor, and you see like the final file, and it's just different, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?"
Imagine hiring a person like this. Like, can you cut videos? Yes. Here's the video, and it'd be like random cuts,
Yeah, but the worst part about this bug is that it's not so random. It's like half a second different, which is actually not so easy to notice
exactly.
if you're not looking for it.
And it depends. Like if you exactly cut on the keyframe, it can even be like right, So
Ah,
it can
shit.
Well,
work
when I'm
smoothly.
cutting the micro, half a second is huge sometimes, because sometimes someone stops talking and the other starts. That's the moment I want the micro to start, and I don't want the rest to be there. So half a
Exactly.
second could like turn it into a really shitty clip, because there's gonna be like a random
Exactly. Like we
end
have
of random
another idea
sentence.
to basically like make another version of the video with like 300 milliseconds between keyframes. But as you said, like it's still not enough. It's like we really have to have it like as precise as possible.
And it's also, and it will take us actually to our next point, which is about dog feeding. Is that by Alex doing the content, he figured out that he needs really precise editing, cutting, and it should be also introduced in the final, or like in the future version of Welder Studio. You can, because I also know it. Sometimes someone coughs, and you don't want to have that there, because micro content starting with like a loud noise is really not a good experience. So you want to have the ability to edit it, but also we are thinking about connecting, because right now what you get out of Welder is the raw piece of the video, and you don't have anything else. And if you are putting this to your social media, you most likely want subtitles there. You want maybe a logo, a headline, and even do some smaller cuts, because if you are doing a lot of and stuff like that, it's not really good for micro content. So we are thinking about making a connection with some other tool that will allow you to actually do all of this, to add subtitles, edit stuff, and yeah.
Wow, very
Wow.
subtle.
Anyway, if there is someone watching us, feel free to ask us anything. I'm not sure actually if someone is watching us right now. I am so much enjoying just the streaming that I don't even care. But if you are watching, feel free to ask anything. The next stuff, and thanks for sharing, guys. This, I think it was an interesting story. Next stuff is
not so
growth.
much for us.
Yeah,
Very funny.
I think the measurement of what we should share on these live streams should be, was the most painful for you as a developers is the most interesting stuff to anyone else.
Actually remember when we were shooting the videos, we had at one time we had a format where we were sharing like our most exciting
the
thing
best
every week.
and worst moment of
Yeah.
previous week.
But I don't remember it being like very popular or sparking so many discussions. But right now it looks like it's good content, so I'm not sure what happened before.
Yeah, I think that the mind work out for for everyone here actually before we go live and we prepare the structure should be like, what was the biggest fuck up this week and what was the best thing that happened this week, because that's what's worth sharing, I think, because there is a lot of just grind and mundane stuff, but just sharing the best and the worst, it's always the most interesting. Okay, growth. Alex, you want to take over the growth?
Yeah, sure. I was working on a YouTube video which we released today. It's about our struggle with releasing content for like 7 to 8 years. For me, it's only like a year, but I feel it as well. And I actually wanted to write a blog as well where I would embed this video. It would be like closely related to each other. It would be around about content creation, and that it doesn't have to be this hard. And I would plug in Welder Studio very shamelessly. Then I was networking on LinkedIn. I was adding. I actually added like 100 people, which I think is the limit nowadays weekly. I was using a video content marketing keyword. Surprisingly, a lot of people there. And in terms of growth, in terms of numbers, the last week was nice. I think we grew by almost 20%. I think it has to do a lot with us posting every day on LinkedIn. I think me and Johan were actually posting every day, so it's nice in the past like 2 weeks. And I was also backlinking streaming keywords, mostly streaming software. I was typing to authors of articles. I was doing Quora, and I was actually browsing through older posts on streaming subreddit and backlinking streaming software, multi-stream software, and stuff like that. So that's like in terms of growth. I also have some blog ideas which I couldn't do yet, because I had some other stuff to sort of, which I can't really talk about.
Yeah, but I think we can talk about it as well. And I'm sorry, I just realized my microphone was like the wrong mic the whole time, and I was trying so hard like for this to be the best recording ever, and I selected the bad microphone, and you didn't tell me, guys. And I
I
cannot
would tell
hear
you
you
if
right
I
now.
knew.
I cannot hear anyone. You were muted, us maybe.
I couldn't tell the reference actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
It's-
Actually,
But now,
same.
it's-
Man, that's
I
point
see,
for
like now I heard the difference. Now it's different, but
yeah. Makes sense.
it's actually
That's
good
the-
enough, you know.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
this was
It's
my-
good enough. It's good enough. That's it. That's Alex. That's point for Neil. You know that he's always hating me on LinkedIn. The podcaster on our LinkedIn, he's always hating me for Blue Yeti. That's point for him. The guys couldn't know the difference.
Yeah, I guess. I guess.
All right.
James.
Yeah, and James.
I actually
Yeah, I
have Dave saying he's lurking from PA. Hello, Dave, on YouTube.
Hey.
There's somebody watching.
Hey.
The best thing happened this Friday. I think we can talk about what we were also chatting together, Alex, about the growth, because I think it's interesting because what I'm trying to achieve is that Alex is taking care of the whole growth we as a company do. So early this week we had a nice walk with Alex and just chatting about what's the growth stuff and what should we focus on and what's important for the future, how he can grow personally. And I think that's like I enjoy it, and I really believe like there is a lot waiting for you, Alex, and you are doing a great job right now. And just like learning also to managing stuff and strategizing and coming up with the strategies will I believe you will actually enjoy it as soon as you get your hand onto it.
Yeah, I think so as well. Actually, we have another segment coming, and we will talk about some interesting stuff that we came across this week. And in relation to that, I came across Gary Vee saying something about like repurposing, as he usually talks about repurposing a lot about content. And yeah, I had so many ideas of how we could like creatively repurpose the streams, and I would love to turn them into features like one day, but it's still like a lot of work to do before we get to that part.
Nice, cool. Again, any questions, feel free to shoot them at us. Now, the topic of this stream, dog feeding your tool is cool. What we are doing right now is that we are using Welder to live stream, to record the live stream, to cut the live stream into clips and into micro contents, and then release them on social media, on YouTube to get more views, to hit some keywords on YouTube. And this is actually dog feeding our own tool. We are using our own tool, and that's how we are learning what we should improve, because it's always a challenge when you are starting or when you are creating a new product that doesn't have many users. It's hard to get feedback from the users, and it's even if you have users, it's hard to get like the feedback you really need. Like you get a lot of different ideas. The users mostly have a lot of different needs. And for you to actually do this properly, it takes a lot of time and a lot of energy and a lot of skill to do user research properly. And that's not super easy. So the easiest way is to actually you yourself be the user, solving your own pain and using the solution to solve your own pain. And I believe that's also a mistake we did with Welder in the beginning, that we built a high quality recording studio that we actually didn't need so much. Like we need some tool that will allow us to produce a ton of content. So that's what we are doing right now. And we already figured out that, for example, starting the stream in Welder by copying and pasting the stream keys and stream URLs is not the best way to actually start the stream. And that we really need this to connect to the platform, so you can really easily start the streams and get all the comments in one place, so you can like check everything. But also the micro content, the repurposing. Alex is doing that right now with other tools. And it's really pains, which proves that this solution has its value. And he already was talking about like, yeah, I need sometimes to adjust the start of the microclip or the end or do something like that. So that's all of these ideas are actually like pouring into our head, and it helps us to prioritize what we are building. But of course, like doing user research is crucial. It's important because it gets you out of your bubble. You get more ideas. You can also like stop stock the pains on its like on themselves, kind of. So you get like more of people are saying, as people just prove you're thinking right sometimes. So that's what we are doing right now.
Yeah, and I would also add to that as Johan said, like regarding the customer feedback point, I think one point where dog feeding helps extremely is with the UX. And I think a good example of that is that, for example, we discovered that our recording start and live streaming start is really bad with Welder. We don't like it. It's hard to use, but this is something that would be quite hard to get from the customer feedback, because what usually happens is that they will try to use the tool, they will figure out it's too hard, and they will just leave. So on the real feedback you will get is that nobody is using your product, but you kind of have to, like, it's hard to figure out why if you are not dog feeding. And now for example, because we started, we kind of know where, this is definitely the point where people will not even go deep enough to have a call with us. They will leave even before that. So we have to fix that. And I think this is extreme value for at least for the product start. Like, this can help immensely.
And also it takes me to another point, which is sometimes people who are building businesses overemphasize the need to be on user calls and are scared to do decisions on their own product-wise because they don't have enough data. And that's why they really built like itching your own scratch and dog feeding yourself can solve and help you, and you should be able to trust yourself in this, because as you said, like it's not rocket science right now. You just need to feel the tool. You just need to see what's the problem and fix that, and it's pretty simple. And you don't need so much user research for that. That can come later. So I believe that can be that is issue for some like early stage product teams, product builders.
Yeah, I would say also dog feeding is like twice as powerful if you're actually like building the tool for yourself. You can actually dog feed even when the tool is like not built for you, but it's not going to be as powerful. Definitely. Because
that's true.
Yeah, right now we are like the use case. We are using it with a use case that we want other people to have as well. Because when we were like testing Welder, we weren't actually post-producing it the way that people were using it afterwards. So even if we were dog feeding and getting feedback from ourselves, it wasn't like the right kind of feedback. So right now, I think the combination of like scratching our own itch and dog feeding is super powerful, and it's gonna help us a lot. Yep.
I agree. Dog feeding is really powerful, and it's actually, guys, you know what? It's actually the first time we are properly doing it in our like 7 years journey.
Actually, I think we've done the same, or at least we've tried with Happy Ship.
Yeah, Happy Ship.
Kind of tied it like maybe.
But it never actually worked, so we couldn't dog feed properly. But if it worked, like, we could do that.
Actually, I thought of Tidetech because we have a comment by Dave, who's already had a comment before that he's using Tidetech. There are actually people still letting us know that they are using it.
Yeah, I got mails.
It still works?
Yeah, I got mails like
how is it possible,
bi-weekly. Like if you are adding features, that it's really cool and it's really saving time.
Yeah. So Dave, we are actually not really working on the tool anymore.
Where's the server even? Like, I don't know.
It's just a mystery.
It exists somewhere in void,
Yeah, it started to live on its own, like it figured out how to live on
its own existence.
Yeah, exactly. It's happy. It's like it grown up. It's a big boy right now. Okay. Let's get into the builders news segment. And this is actually where we are starting experimenting. So are you ready, guys?
Our new segment.
New segment. Okay, I'm just preparing it. Be patient.
LinkedIn is behind, like, I don't know how long you are showing the landing page right now.
No, but
maybe it's stuck for me.
Yeah, it's because you pause it and you cannot fast forward.
Okay.
In the viewer, it may be.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's true.
But YouTube is also delayed slightly, but not as much. Which wasn't this. Oh, this looks nice.
Yeah. So this is the first product that was actually a top product on Product Hunt yesterday. and I just want to walk through it and just chat about if it's interesting, if we find it interesting, and whatever it sparks in us. So it's highlight. Stop debugging in the dark. Don't wrestle with messy logs and spend time reproducing customer issues. With powerful session replay and monitoring highlights gives you the visibility you need. So it's like Hotjar, but for apps.
Most probably.
I'm not sure if I have anything to say. Like, this is not a tool for me.
Yeah, this is too mainly for us with Mark.
Yeah.
Actually, if you are doing support, maybe it could even help you.
Yeah, it's recording users' interactions on your web and in your app, I guess. That's the idea. But
Is it actually like a new idea, or?
I don't think so, because it's like Hotjar does that. They started like, I don't know, 5-6 years ago, recording your website. I'm not sure if they do apps and how robust it is.
But I think Hotjar is like for a different kind of use case. It's for like maybe testing the UX or like seeing how the customers experience your site.
Yeah.
And I think this is like mainly for debugging. Like if there's some bug, maybe it will trigger the recording and go back, like save it somewhere with logs maybe.
Yeah, I would say this is like a little bit more advanced version of Sentry, where basically this is only for developers. If you get an exception in code, it will just show you a recording alongside the error.
Oh,
which
that's
is cool.
Interesting.
I think it can be pretty cool for like more complicated, maybe crude apps, where there's like a lot of things the user can do. I think maybe for Welder, like
highlight gives you the power.
Mostly when we are getting some bug, the user flow is so like straightforward that we actually kind of know where the bug happened.
Yeah.
But when you have like more complicated app with, I don't know, some tables, buttons, everywhere, maybe it can help a lot.
Yeah, this is tool. You can imagine it like it's a cool for some back office, some really complex dashboarding application, but it's not unusable for Welder. It just doesn't make too much sense because like most of our bugs don't even happen in that part of the code. Most of our bugs are going to happen with encoding or like any of the more complex stuff, basically. It's not really designed.
For example, basically, if you click on the start streaming button and it doesn't start streaming, usually like we know the person like clicked the button. It's like the least important.
Man, I'm sorry to jump in, guys, but like, what is this video? It's like I know you should play it with sound, but like it's for like 20 seconds. The guy is just here on the screen moving the mouse around. What the heck?
Yeah, I think he's probably talking.
Yeah, but like
but this is a good development video. Like this is exactly what I want actually. Like
you should actually add subtitles to the video.
Yeah, we always should do that, and we don't have that on our landing page as well, and we do.
Why?
Yeah, tell us. Speak, man.
Man, I did a trap for myself here. It will on the new landing page. It will work. You won't need. You won't even need subtitles. Okay, so it's quite cool. The only thing I'm thinking is that if there is like how much time it requires for this to be set up so it makes sense for you.
Yeah, it's quite simple actually. Like these tools are easy to set up usually. It's done in like one day or like a few hours basically. It can be done.
Yeah, I think these companies will emphasize simple setup.
Yeah, this is literally like one-on-one of doing development tools. It has to be simple to integrate, Every startup is doing it. So I think the time is fine. We could even maybe use it, but we will probably not for Welder because like these tools even have a problem with other stuff. Like for example, they are recording they are not really like recording the screen. They are more like recording changes in what happens on the web page. But for Welder, doesn't really make sense because it will not show the video, for example. So if you are testing layouts, I'm not even sure if it will actually work. Maybe it will, I'm not sure, but it's probably more challenging to do than just to record, the page, basically.
I don't think it's possible to actually work with WebRTC and all the stuff,
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So this is really not for Welder. But otherwise, for other tools, like it can be good.
Okay, let's get into another top product on Prerog Hunt this week, which is Defya AI.
Extremely loud, man.
It's epic.
It's so loud.
Yeah, it's loud.
Really? Even right now?
Yeah, still. Okay,
Yeah,
that's better.
I'm sorry for everyone. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's weird that this voice control doesn't work. Be like this? No? No? Okay. I will stop. So what is this? Create digital humans for engaging conversations.
I fucking love this.
You love it? I don't get it. You love it?
Actually, like with Prerog, I think like 1 or maybe 1.5 years
Yeah, that's
ago,
true.
we had like very similar idea where we wanted to basically generate like AI human. Like we thought about maybe Barack Obama being the human who would help you on board into Welder, on a live call, and he would be like, actually speaking with you. Maybe he
Yes,
will
I
even
remember
say
that.
your name.
Yeah, but like this is... I don't get this use case in an app.
Yeah, I think I don't know about exactly this product, but I think if they get a lot of like funding and they are building some first MVP version of it, I think maybe it's not going to be useful at all. But in the coming years, I believe like this is going to be like a huge thing, basically AR generated humans, for
Yeah, this is I think a good first point. They will always like. I think I read somewhere on Hacker News and I kind of took it to heart. I think we talked about it with Mark also. Is that usually like when the project is funded, it's done by a good team and it looks stupid. Usually, like it will never stay that way. It will maybe fail, but usually like you just don't see the vision.
Yeah.
Like like this, the Google Slides presentation is always different than the first MVP, and especially with products like these. Like I think they didn't get funding to create like this version of the app. Definitely, they get funding to create something much bigger, and this is just a start. And maybe they will fail, maybe they will succeed. Who knows? But it's always hard to judge these kinds of products by their like first few releases.
That's true.
But I have already seen like a pretty good use case for AI generated like humans, images of humans. It actually wasn't video; it was just images, but it can be used for like a replacement of stock photos. For example, you will need a photo of a woman, smiling some specific way, and you can generate like exactly the gender, like the hair color, like everything you want. There's a lot of sliders.
Yeah.
It's actually used even like in real world.
What Prerog said is interesting to me. I don't really get and don't have like any experience with building a product the way that you get some really crazy idea that requires a lot of technology research, but in general it will probably be something that in the future will make a lot of sense if used for other use cases, but right now is built, for example, for just making 3D avatars or for this generated AI like voice. But you can feel so many use cases under it. As you said, like one use case is providing us the AI so we can use it in our tool. So it's like B2B focus immediately. And in the future, you can imagine like in VR having people like many people will want to have conversations that feels natural with artificially generated like AI humans. So like there is so much, and I just don't know how I would build a business like that. Like building something funny or gimmicky because you are building the tech under it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think this is exactly what they are doing.
Yeah,
definitely. And I think the challenge with these businesses is different. Like the main challenge is that you have to prove that this technology is in fact hard, so it has to be cool, and then you have to basically fundraise like 7 times. In terms of like 10 years, basically, it takes to build you this.
It's crazy.
This thing.
Or it's just fun side project. You never know.
Yeah, that's possible too. But if they're funded, it's probably not. Like nobody will really give you money for a side project.
Okay, another one. I think you guys will have something to say about this one. Why are you laughing, Alex?
I don't know.
I don't know.
It seems like you wanted to say much more.
The open source alternative
Super
to
boys.
Firebase.
Alex, what do you have to
no,
say
that's-
about this? Tell us.
I know Johan said we will have something to say, but I don't have anything to say much.
Actually, like, we are not using Firebase, so we don't need an open source alternative. But for example, we are using open source alternative to Heroku, basically. It's called Keprover, and it basically gives you like a self-hosted dashboard where you can manage your containerized applications. It gives you like HTTPS certificates and everything. And it's super simple. It always works, and I love it. I don't use anything else for hosting APIs and stuff like that. So I believe like if Firebase is something like you are used to work with, like a good open source alternative can be awesome.
Dude, this was like the best testimonial ever. We should probably cut this and send it to them.
Yeah. I have I forgot one thing. But I have one thing. I remember when I was starting like doing websites, coding, and my friend showed me the Firebase and showed me how I can store data into it. I was like, wow, that's amazing. I don't have to set up anything, like any server. And there was a time that Firebase was on its own, like not in Google. And then Google bought it, I think. And they bought it. And right now it's a pretty big thing, I believe. And I believe it will even like stuff like this will be big for maybe no code stuff. Like using this with other no code builders and using this as a database. Maybe? No?
Yeah, it can be done.
maybe.
Like people use it like that also. Like it can be done. I'm just surprised that Johan actually knows what server is.
Come on, man.
But other than that, I've seen like a lot of no-code tools can integrate with Firebase because they have quite simple and quite a dumb database. So, but I'm not sure. Like usually, how people use Firebase, they still use it as a backend.
Yeah.
It just doesn't really use. Like you still need developers. Basically, just you have basically less servers. I would say.
Yeah.
So, but it's still engineering technology. It's not really no-code.
Yeah, it's true. I remember our debate a few years ago about. Open source, and how open source actually could be a way for us to build a business. You remember, guys, like how we are talking that like doing something open source might be a good way to get attention from people, get known in the community, actually build a user base, and then maybe build like a solution on top of it and sell it. Like how it's called, the solution that you sell on top of open source that you build.
Yeah, some premium version, like maybe closed source, or you can be like hosting the open source solution for others. Yeah, it's actually like a pretty
proven model.
Yeah, I think it's and we were thinking it in context with developer tools.
Yeah,
because it's really hard to build. Like it's hard to build tools for developers.
Actually, nowadays, like building something for developers which is closed source, it's like I don't even know like if anyone's doing that.
Really?
Yeah, JetBrains is probably the only successful.
Yeah, but it's like living on it like for like 25 years already or
that's
something. But starting a new like I don't know like IDE for example, like closed source one, I can't imagine that.
Why is it so hard? Like why
Because
wouldn't you
there's
like
such a strong competition from the open source tools, and developers they usually value that the solution is open source and they can maybe extend it or fix a bug, or cooperate on something. It's just
if you take for example the VS Code, which is the new popular like text editor, like the good example of that is that it's open source, and thanks to that it's free. And it gets a lot of traffic, and there is a ton of people who will create extensions for that platform. So if you create a closed source editor, it will just by design be so popular, so you will have less decision. It's the loop, like if you're open source, you have a free tool, you have a lot of extensions, and it all goes up. And if you create closed source, it all goes down basically, or at least it goes up a lot more slower. So I think I think the only company I know who can break that is JetBrains, but as Mark said, they've been doing it for 30 years, so they have a lot of brand recognition, and it helps them a lot, probably.
Like they are, like
Actually,
there's
now something came on my mind. Like you can actually sell like closed source tools, but usually it's like little utilities like Postgres, which is like an app to connect to a database and see what's the data inside, or maybe Sublime Text, which is basically an editor, but maybe it's a kind of exception in this world.
I feel like you can maybe divide it, but I don't have enough experience in it. But that's what I feel right now is you can divide it into two. Like if you're really building a big solution, like something as I don't know, new CI/CD whatever tool, it's really smart for it to be open source, and it will be hard for you if it's not open source for developers. But if you are building like a small tool, I don't know, something like Poolpanda or some small stuff that will help developers save time, that can be closed source really easily. And it also might make sense because the developers are like for these small stuff, you want the experience to be like as simple as possible. Or that's my feeling for a designer. Like I would just like double click, install, and it's done.
It's true. So basically for your CI/CD solution, like I can't imagine anyone like implementing something closed source, like running it on your own server, closed source thing. Doesn't make sense. But Poolpanda is a good example. It's actually for people who don't know that it actually doesn't exist anymore. It was integrated into GitHub, but it was a simple tool to connect to your GitHub and give you Slack notifications each time like someone requested a code review from you. So yeah, this is exactly kind of app you can still keep closed source. Basically, a lot of like software as a service, solutions, even for developers, can still be closed source.
Makes sense. All right. Any questions, anyone who's watching right now? Do we have some questions, Alex, on LinkedIn, on YouTube?
No, I'm checking it all the time. Don't make me answer that, man.
Okay, let's skip the last product and let's get into Indie Hacker. This is Hacker News. This is Hacker News post that I found really interesting, and I believe you will like it, guys. It's really cool. It's like someone made a generated podcast on GPT-3 to help you fall asleep, and it's actually a really smart idea. Like it's really smart because it's generated stories that make sense, but not so much. It's like stories trained on like really kids stories and stuff like that. So it's like if you listen to it, it's like the dragon went and slayed the knight with the knife, but it's good for sleeping because actually when you try to fall asleep, you want to make people want to listen to something, but if it's too interesting, you don't fall asleep.
Yeah.
And so if it's just going on and on in some,
you want something boring, basically.
Yeah, exactly. But it's also not so boring. Like I think the only thing that it still needs to be improved is the way the AI voice is generated. It's not so nice to listen to, but it's actually a great idea in my mind.
Dude, how do people come up with this stuff, man? This is such a good idea.
I'm also not sure about the loud.
We cannot hear it.
No?
No.
Nope.
I don't think you're sharing audio actually in the time.
I tried to share audio. Let's try it again. Maybe it's not this stop. Share top audio.
Middle Prince was tall and strong like his elder brother, but he wasn't as handsome. The Middle Prince was not a warrior like his elder brother, but he was a good man and a good friend. He was.
Yep, that's not.
I'm actually falling asleep right now.
It's actually a really good idea. I like it. I'm looking forward if we are going to see this in like, I don't know, a week or something, making headlines or not, because it's possible. It's cool.
Actually,
but as said, like the sound is still not perfect.
It's not. Yeah.
It's like Google Translate when you play the word.
Do you guys have sometimes problems falling asleep?
No.
I don't. I
don't
don't have
think
that
it.
problem, but I would like for someone who has that problem to test it, like if it actually works, if it helps falling asleep. Then I think it would be super cool.
I actually struggle
Yeah.
to stay awake.
Because like right
Really?
now we don't know if it's actually solving any problem, but if we knew it's solving a problem, I think it's a super smart idea.
Yeah. I don't have so much.
Actually, I cannot test out because I don't have AirPods, so I cannot really sleep with this. So that would be maybe even worse. So I'm going to let you guys test it.
Okay, one other thing is what I found interesting this week, and Prerog found it actually, is this tweet. Show the screen again. It's a tweet that someone from Poland got a message from Apple that state-sponsored attack might be targeting his iPhone. It is crazy.
What the hell?
I know we are getting a little bit off topic from putting products, but it's interesting. I think what's interesting is actually maybe talking about how this is working, and maybe Marek, you can tell us a bit more because you explained it to us yesterday, like how actually Apple knows that someone is targeting someone else's iPhone with some attack.
Yeah, so basically, like, there's a lot of companies. I think most of them are based in Israel, who are developing like zero-day attacks on iPhones and some other phone brands, and mostly it works the way that you send some kind of special image through iMessage or through WhatsApp or some text message with like special characters, and it basically, yeah, it's pretty complicated, but it basically corrupts the memory in the phone. Some kind of code will go into the space in the memory where it shouldn't be, then it got executed, and you have then control over the phone. And the companies are basically selling these tools only to governments, but they are selling it to governments who are like, not very democratic and respecting civil rights. So it's actually a problem for, I think, like 3, maybe 4 years. I'm reading about this like regularly. So maybe Apple finally started to fight on this, and I give a lot of kudos to them for this. Actually, they are taking like security pretty seriously, which I like.
That's cool. Yeah, I like it as well. It's really interesting to see this. Yeah, I was wondering how they do it. Thanks for explanation.
Actually, what's really interesting is that this happened in Poland. Like, I wouldn't expect that.
Man, a lot of stuff is happening in Poland, actually.
Yeah, I thought they are not that far. But
Yeah.
on the other hand, like it's just a tweet, like we don't know if it's the way like they present it.
True. Cool. Alex, do you want to take the last one? I'm not sure if you are going to get into the Quora questions.
Yeah, we can. This is video you sent me. It's Gary Vaynerchuk, talking to owners of small and medium-sized businesses and basically just answering their questions about content, growth, just everything marketing-wise. And it was quite. Should I maybe share screen or show it or something?
Yeah, you can.
Not sure if it's like necessary because it's like a 1 hour video.
Yeah.
But wait, just sharing the screen. Can you switch the layout?
Sure.
So this is how it looks. 67 minutes of social media content strategy for SMBs, which is small or medium-sized businesses, I guess. And yeah, I'll just check my notes because there were some interesting points, like which were super relatable to Welder Studio. He was actually talking a lot about repurposing your content, your content pillar, and he was talking a lot about post-production and some creative ways of repurposing your content pillar, which he was talking, for example, about like hiring an animator and turning your a 2-minute clip into an animation and stuff like that, like all kinds of different ideas. And basically he was saying if you have 200 content pillars, you can turn it into 4,000 pieces of content. Just like crazy. It's like his whole
He's
thing.
insane. He's
Yeah, that's insane. But it's basically what we can do as well, right? With the streams.
Yeah.
You just need to be creative enough. You can turn it. This one stream we could turn into 10 different clips, 2 YouTube videos. We could turn it into quote images. We could turn it into audiograms. We could turn it into animations. All kind of stuff. It would be crazy. And yeah, so he was talking about that, and I wanted to like really think about it and apply some of the ideas to like possible features of Elder Studio, which you'll be able to do it right from the studio, but it's like way down the road. He was also talking about, one guy was asking him about a direct competitor from his area, which is like much bigger and has much like bigger funding, bigger resources, everything. And he wasn't sure how to like compete against them and how aggressive he should be. And this is how I felt we had it with Zoom. Like we weren't really aggressive, but we had the comparison versus Zoom on our landing page for so long. And basically Gary's advice was to be as aggressive as possible, because like what are they going to do, like outmarket you? Or like they're already doing that anyways. There's like basically nothing they can do to stop you. So it's like your best strategy to be as aggressive as possible and like try to get under their skin. And like you cannot compete on prices, so this is like your way of competing with like a bigger fish in the same area, which I found quite interesting. And also he said a sentence of like that scratching your own itch is the best way to start a business, which is basically what we're doing right now.
Yeah, I remember this one.
So yeah, this video was like packed with knowledge that we can kind of validates the whole Elder Studio thing. And yeah, I found it really interesting.
It's cool. Yeah, this guy is a big inspiration. He's insane.
Yeah. It's really,
He's
really
insane.
cool.
All right. Can maybe stop the screen sharing. And
Oh, sorry.
yeah. And right now we have like we have to still look for our questions. And again, this is experimenting, so it's a question if you want to go through them, but the questions are interesting. It's the first question is, what are some best practices for creating original content, video content for your business? I believe like that's a big topic we can answer. Another question is how do you generate ideas for content creation? Another topic we can answer, at least from our experience. And another question that is also great, and I think we can relate to it and share our experience, is how do you prioritize features for MVP? Though I'm not sure if you want to go through with it right now.
I think we can pick one question, but like answering all three would take like another 30 minutes.
Yeah. All right, let's do one. But I really like this. Actually, I'm a bit sad that I scrolled to it just at the end, and then we can evaluate for the next stream what we want to focus on. Okay, so let's do one.
I kind of feel like the second question slightly overlaps with the first, so we can pick one of the two, or we can pick the third one. Like I wouldn't do the second one, is what I'm saying. I would do the first or the third.
Yeah, let's do the first.
Okay.
And yeah, let's see where it takes us. Okay, so what are some best practices for creating original video content for your business? And I believe we can share our own experience, and that's everything we can do. And our experience is, I think the best practice is to make something that is sustainable, and just try to come up with some video content that makes you enjoy doing the content and it's not overwhelming you. Because, for example, for me, when I was experimenting with content, I enjoy doing like 10 minutes videos a day, kind of, but it took me the whole day. I couldn't do anything else. So it has to be a combination of these two.
I think it's very similar to a situation where you want to start exercising, like physically. You really have to find something which you enjoy doing, but even if you find something which you enjoy and it takes too much of your time and energy, you never keep that routine for a long time. I think it's exactly the same situation.
It's true, and also it's Like for us, it's what we are doing right now. We enjoy doing the live streams each week, chatting about like just sharing what we did because we do it anyway, and then sharing. And we are trying experimenting with what we will enjoy, if it's answering these questions or if it's just scrolling through products and see what products catch our eye and what we can tell about it. So yeah, really a combination of this two. And how to generate ideas, again, it has to be something that comes to you naturally, I believe, and we are still trying to figure it out. Like I and also everyone is a bit different. Like for example, for me it's super hard to prepare for this stream really in depth. I just don't enjoy the preparations. I don't enjoy like getting the topics and doing my research and all of this work. I just like to take the question and just share what I get on my mind and share my stories around that question, around that context. So that's where you generate the ideas for your content creation.
Yeah, well, also you said to share stories. I think that's super important because the question specifically says original content. So if you like share your own story, if you're being authentic, it's always going to be original because there's like nobody else in the world who has the same experience, who's doing the same thing. Yeah, so that's what's gonna make it original. I think if we do these raw, authentic live streams and then we turn into clips and like share our own experience, share what we did this week and stuff like that, it's always gonna be original. It's always gonna be interesting.
Yeah, and I really like the concept of sharing stories. Actually, and I'm still learning to do that. But I really like. There is so much stuff on the internet that is like you should do this, and this is like how it should be done. And I really like it. Like I like it, but from the top of the top. You know, like I just listen to the best people on earth saying this. They really have to be believable, which means they are really great at what they are doing. Like, and they have to be great at it over and over and over and be proven. But there's also like so much hype around content creation and everyone wants to create content, but it's like it doesn't make sense even for us. Like sharing how to create content is kind of weird because we are not having thousands of people watching us, you know, and consuming our content, but we have our stories, we have our experience, we have something that no one else has, and it can be beneficial for someone. It can spark, like listening to what we experienced and was our story can spark something in someone else's brain and be like, oh, these guys are really similar and they are trying this that might also work for me. And also in general, brains are really wired to listen to stories and learn from stories. So just sharing authentic story is a really powerful way of creating original content, as you said, Alex.
Yeah, and sorry, go on.
Yeah, I would say like in general, you want to listen to advice from people who are much more experienced than you, like, you know, far away in the like journey. And you want to listen to stories from people who are like on the same level as you, because both of these will bring you a lot of value.
Well said. That's well said.
True. Storytelling is a skill, man. But
It is.
You said it in the YouTube video we posted. You said like it can just be one person watching one or two of your videos. It can spark into something. It can like you can get a new opportunity just thanks to it. And as you said, we have the story that we cannot share yet. We want to share it, but it like validates that just being out there and always posting something can lead to something great, or it can like basically change your life or change your business. So yeah, just get out there, man. Just do whatever. Find something that like you can make consistently, and it's gonna work eventually, man.
It's true, and there's also, but there's also the notion of like just shitting stuff on out there is not a good way to do it as well. Like just shouting and not providing any value and just putting content out there so you are seen is not a good way to do it, and that's true. But that's why I believe in sharing stories and learning to be a good storyteller, because stories are valuable and you have a lot of them, and it can help someone.
That's true.
But it's skill. It is a skill that we are learning, and we believe it's valuable.
Yeah. One interesting thing I noticed when you were sharing your screen with one of the Product Hunt products, the pinned comment from the maker was actually like storytelling oriented. It wasn't like what we do, and we were actually like exploring what people do on Product Hunt nowadays. Maybe that's like something we could do when we are launching Welder Studio.
I actually, yeah, it's true. It's a good catch, and I like it. As you said right now, I really like it. And I also noticed that they use the GIFs instead of PNGs in the images, and it's also I like it as well.
Yeah, maybe we should just flip it completely on we've been doing like before, and just the next release should just be crazy, and the pin comment should be like a storytelling or some manifesto instead of like just listing the features and
It's much
yeah,
more
maybe
interesting.
GIFs
Yeah.
instead of images and stuff like that. Just like try something new. It's not
I
gonna
agree.
be worse. It can only be better, I think. Like
Yeah, I
I
definitely
don't mean
agree.
it was bad before, but I don't think this is gonna be the reason it would perform worse. So yeah, maybe
Cool.
we should try that.
Okay, I think that's it. But this was really interesting. The question score, I liked it. I enjoyed that part. So we'll evaluate for next stream what we are going to do. I also remember you guys being like, next stream, Alex, you will be able to repurpose this content in Welder Studio.
Oh yes, finally.
We are a little bit.
Hopefully.
We are a little bit. We are. No, that was the last stream. It was not this stream.
Yeah, exactly.
It was the last stream. So it's like we are a little bit past the deadline, and I'm a bit sad it's not done yet, because what I would love to do right now is that I would love to say on Tuesday we are releasing Welder Studio on Product Hunt, and I would love to, like, Alex just be and in 5 minutes just grabbing that piece of text, that piece of video, and posting it immediately on LinkedIn. You know, it would be
That's not gonna happen.
it's not, I know, because we don't have it. Like, it's
I
not
will
done
get to
yet.
it on Monday. Sorry.
Yeah, if you would have a Welder Studio, it would work. It would be done. Yeah, so that's it. This is all for this Friday. I'm looking forward to next Friday. I enjoyed this one. It was a lot of experimentation. And yeah, we are releasing Welder Studio next week, definitely, and launching it on Product Hunt. And it will be really cool because you will be able to do from start to end your like content production, shit ton of content production, sharing your stories in stream, repurposing it into clips and micro contents and putting it everywhere. That's the dream. That's the goal. So yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, let's end the streams on the platforms. Cool.